Because everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart. My choosing to free people from concern got me to the top of a mountain. Look where I am. Look what I get to do. Everywhere I go. I'm going to get emotional because when I tap into this, it really is extraordinary to me. I did something that made people present their best selves to me wherever I go. Wow. I am at the top of the mountain, and I was, and the only one I hadn't freed was myself, and that's when my search for identity deepened. I wondered who I'd be without my fame. Who would I be if I said things that people didn't want to hear? Or if I defied their expectations of me? What if I showed up to the party without my Mardi Gras mask and refused to flash my breasts for a handful of beads? I'll give you a moment to wipe that image out of your mind.
What's been getting me lately is how much is required, at least in my own life, out of me to make a situation, pretty much any situation I'm in with other people, like really comfortable and easy, where they're not like triggered by me or questioning like, why is he doing this? Like there's a lot, especially say at my job, that I sometimes feel this internal pressure to put forward so that other people feel very comfortable or they feel like they're having someone agree with them because I am agreeing with them. It's like regardless of whether or not I actually agree, I'll be like, oh yeah, yeah. And it's like this, it's just this crap that I feel like I have this pressure sometimes to put forth, and I feel as though the freedom comes when you don't need to put anything forth, where you could just say whatever, be whatever, and on the, oh my gosh, I was about to say like on the inside, you're like remaining. Ramana Maharshi says something like, this is my interpretation, is like, let's redefine solitude. Solitude is not when you are the only person in your general vicinity. Solitude is when there's only one person in the room on the inside.
Oh.
When there's a lot of clutter on the inside, he said there could be someone in the middle of the jungle sitting alone, and there's a lot of clutter up here. He says that's not solitude. And there could be someone in it was like a beautiful way he said it. It was like the midst of commotion in society, and they're the only one in the room, and there's no clutter.
Wow.
And they're in solitude. So to find the solitude, regardless, it's like the external doesn't have anything to do with solitude. Changing that mindset. Yeah, that really struck me the other day when I heard it.
That's flavorful.
Tasty.
But you guys are so ahead of the game. You already know who you are. And that peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor go. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory.
What'd you say?
It was just one of the words on the picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of incredible that, like, that is a painting that's not necessarily like you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this incredible artist. Like, look at the way he's painting. It's more like, that's a really genuine expression of art. And it's not necessarily something that you'd look at and be like, that belongs in an art
That's
museum.
art, yeah.
Like, I never knew Jim Carrey was such a good artist because, like, that's what would impress other people. But this is like, that's just raw expression. That was like, he just had a vision, it seems, and then just like, plastered it on the canvas.
Yeah, it struck me earlier when he said the thing about, like, that his job, he shows up to play, like, how proud he is that whenever he's at his job, people bring their best self.
Yeah.
And he, like, stated that, got applause for it, and almost, but it didn't feel egoic at all. Even though it was fully being like, look at the good thing I did.
Wow.
But his ability to just, like, state it without that, like, hubris.
Yes.
You know? And he just, like, let the applause come and then immediately dropped you into, like, but then I realized that I needed to find my own identity. And it just shows, like, how you can be on top of this mountain, like he says.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a made-up mountain.
Yes. Amen, brother.
It's not big enough. This painting is big for a reason. It's called high visibility. It's about picking up the light and daring to be seen. Here's the tricky part. Everyone is attracted to the light. The party host up at the top, who thinks unconsciousness is bliss and is always offering to drink from the bottles that empty you. Misery below her. Despises the light, can't stand when you're doing well, wishes you nothing but the worst. The Queen of Diamonds, under him, needs a king to build her house of cards. And the hollow one down bottom there will cling to your leg and say, please don't leave me behind, for I have abandoned myself. Even those who are closest to you and most in love with you, the people you love most in the world, will find clarity confronting at times. This painting took me thousands of hours to complete. And when I was finished, thank you, thousands of hours, yes. I'll never get them back. I'll never get them back. I worked on this for so long. I was weeks and weeks like a madman alone on a scaffolding. And when I was finished, one of my friends said, this would be a cool blacklight painting. So I started over.
That's crazy.
Welcome to Burning Man. Some pretty crazy characters up there, but better up there than in here. You know? Painting is one of the ways, thank you. Painting is one of the ways I free myself from concern, a way to stop the world through total mental, spiritual, and physical involvement. But even with that comes a feeling of divine dissatisfaction. Because ultimately, we're not the avatars we create. We're not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting, but not truly compelling. I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams and wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out into the world and doing something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. My soul is not contained within the limits of my body. My body is contained within the limitlessness of my soul. One unified field. One unified field of nothing, dancing for no particular reason, except maybe to comfort and entertain itself.
Maybe to comfort itself. That's crazy.
As that shift happens in you, you won't be feeling the world, you'll be felt by it. You'll be embraced by it. Now I'm always at the beginning. I have a reset button, and I ride that button constantly. Once that button is functioning in your life, there's no story that the mind could create that will be as compelling. The imagination is...
It's the chop.
Dang. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been doing, I guess this is gonna, I've been doing like Ramana Maharshi's like, who am I? You know, just asking that and trying to come to my own answer with it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I came to was like, I was just examining like, what is the voice inside of me? You know, because maybe that's me. You know, if I'm not this body, because I can like dream at night and not be the body.
I call it the narrator.
The narrator is something like that is good, is really good. But then when the narrator's not, well, first of all, the narrator is literally just narrating stories.
Yes.
And absolutely everything that is you is just a story, and everything that's everyone else is just a story, and how it all fits together is just a story told by the narrator, whatever that is. But then there's this weird thing that if the narrator voice is quiet, which is not very often, it's like when you're in flow, for me at least, that's maybe for like a Ramana, it's just not there. I don't know. But then there's like this pause where there's no voice, and you are still there.
Even when you're awake.
Even when you're awake, yeah. So it's like, if you're not the narrator voice, even though it feels like the narrator voice comes out of you consciously. Like it feels... Well, there's this difference in me, what I've noticed, between like thoughts, like a string that like, a story that just gets told, and then I catch it, I'm like, whoa, that was a story being told.
Yeah.
Versus what I'm doing right now, which is like consciously picking a word. I mean, what the hell does that even mean, you know? Right. But like, I'm purposefully saying these things, at least it feels that way. So I'm like, does this nothingness that's there in the pause just also have the ability to create the narration? It's just like a weird spot where I'm at right now in the whole venture.
That's pretty crazy, because that's what I came to at work the other day when I was doing that practice all day of like, who am I? Going through the list. It still felt like only a thought experiment to me. Like I didn't get that much deeper with it, though that was the most I've connected with that part of his teachings since I first heard of them. But it's interesting because I had the same thing. I was like, I am trying to go down the route that he talks about, but like, what if I tried just like starting from scratch and just building like what, like you say, what's Eli's spirituality? Like what's Mitch's answer to what's Mitch's route to the who am I question? And that was the biggest thing I came to, was like, wait a second. There's this thing that's narrating sometimes. And I came up with the word the narrator. And I was like, okay, same thing as you. I was like, sometimes that goes, sometimes that's there. But then I thought, the awareness, is that, like, am I not even the awareness? Because I don't know. It's just like, I think it was doing what it should do. Is it was like, even though it was just thinking for me, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it got any deeper than just thought. it was like I got to this point where I was really picking apart like these different like planes that I just so effortlessly go through. Like I'm thinking, I'm in a thought loop, then I go like lucid in living reality, and I'm like, whoa, that was a thought loop. Oh wait, I'm spiritual. Oh, I'm conscious. Here I am. And then the narration starts of like, oh, this is what was happening back then. And then it's like, and then you're back in something else. And then it's like, and
repeat.
It's just like, it was like, I was just like looking at all that. I was like, I just had never looked at it like that before. And then getting to the point of just like wondering where the awareness comes in, where it goes away, all that. Like, I feel like that, there was something to that, and I'm just like waiting for it to hit.
It just puts you in a place of like, now what?
Yes.
Almost. And then it's like, once you're at a now what, you know, then the possibilities are there.
Yeah, a lot of people say that the question, who am I, is only meant to just dissolve the questioner, not to find an answer. Like, I listened to do you remember the Nisargadatta Maharaj episode? I listened to another one of his lectures at one point, and he said, the who am I question can only be solved through negation. That one will get you.
Slowly picking away.
Slowly picking away. It's exactly what it is. But I don't know how much any of you have gone into this, but if you have, is there a way to approach the who am I without it being like just a thought experiment? Because that's where I've kind of feel like my limitations are with that. Because sometimes I feel like that is a route, because Ramana says that the mind can only be destroyed by the mind. Which that'll get you. And at a certain point, you'll realize it doesn't exist. Huh? So then maybe a thought experiment does have place. I don't know. But I just would love to hear your thoughts on that, or your experiences about that, if you have gone deep into his teachings. Yeah. And we're listening to Jim Carrey. Right.
It's always manufacturing scenarios, both good and bad, and the ego tries to keep you trapped in the multiplex of the mind. Our eyes are not viewers, they're also projectors that are running a second story over the picture that we see in front of us all the time. Fear is writing that script, and the working title is, I'll Never Be Enough. Now you're going to look at a person like me and say, how could we ever hope to reach those kind of heights, Jim? How can we make a painting that's too big for our home? How do you fly so high without a special breathing apparatus? This is the voice of the ego. And if you listen to it, there will always be someone who's doing better than you. No matter what you gain, ego will not let you rest. It will tell you that you cannot stop until you've left an indelible mark on the earth, until you've achieved immortality. How tricky is this ego that it would tempt us with the promise of something we already possess?
All right. I'll stamp that one.
Yeah.
That's a universal bar.
Give it to him.
Wow! That was electric. Batman.
What?
Mine is much.
Good, I think.
Nope.
So, I just want you to relax. You know, that's my job. Relax and dream up a good life. I had a substitute teacher from Ireland in the second grade. that told my class during morning prayer that when she wants something, anything at all, she prays for it and promises something in return, and she always gets what she wants. Well, I'm sitting at the back of the classroom, thinking, wow, my family can't afford a bike, So I went home and I prayed for one. And I promised I would recite the rosary every night in exchange. Broke that promise. But 2 weeks later, I got home from school to find a brand new Mustang bike with a banana seat and Easy Rider handlebars. Yeah. From fool to cool. My family informed me that I had won the bike in a raffle that a friend of mine had entered my name in without my knowledge whatsoever. So that type of thing has been happening to me ever since. As far as I can tell, it's just about letting the universe know what you want and working toward it while letting go of how it comes to pass.
That was like a whole book on manifestation in 2 words. Yeah. Jeez.
Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head. And when the door opens in real life, just walk through it. And don't worry if you miss your cue, because there's always doors opening. They keep opening. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I really don't know if that's true. I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun. Oh, and why not take a chance on faith as well? Take a chance on faith. Not religion, but faith. Not hope, but faith. I don't believe in hope. Hope is a beggar. Hope walks through the fire, and faith leaps over it. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have 2 choices, love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dad. I'm so honored. Thank you.
Wow.
I hated it.
Wow.
Something that's been getting me on the point of manifestation. Because there was a point where manifestation was a daily practice for me. And then there came a point which really got me, where I thought, how do I know what's right for me? Like, the things I manifest are what I want for my life. But how do I know any of that? Because it seems like that works. It seems like that is like all the stuff that he's saying. Like, you ask and it comes to you in a way that you weren't expecting, and you just have to be open to it, and there can't be a timeline, but it happens. That's how it seems to me. And it's just been trippy to me thinking that right now I can't separate the self from the ego. So there's always ego that's involved in making that manifestation. And so if you want to look at it this way, it's like an impure manifestation that's happening. So what's the point? This is just a question. What's the point in manifesting if there's always going to be ego involved, and if you don't know how that manifestation like impacts other people around you, or like you just don't know how the matrix is working, and you're just like, I want this. in a very simplified manner. It's just been something that's been just getting at me, and I've kind of, like, manifestation hasn't really been a thing that I've been doing lately because of that. Just because, not because I've come to any conclusions, just because there's like, oh, there's questioning now. So like, let's pause, sort things out, and then move forward kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have come to a similar place, and my current thing with it is like kind of what Jim Carrey was saying here is finding or also giving space in all of those manifestation practices to be like, I don't know, this is what I think, you know, and like this is what would, in my current perception, bring that like unlimited joy from stillness, you know, and focus the manifestation or things that I'm manifesting from that place, and make sure that I'm coming from as genuine as I can, and then like also include that like, if that's not the thing, I'm also going to learn that when I get the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And every time you go after it, you're going to get closer to knowing what, because like the whole time that manifestation stuff is happening, your internal practices should be happening.
Yeah.
So it's like this constant growth, receive, that then can like bend what it actually, you know, like guides itself.
Very
almost.
nice. Very
I guess
nice.
that's where I've come.
I think I always left out, when manifesting, like me for some reason, which was interesting. It was like I'd always manifest an external thing, like an external beautiful thing that I was able to witness, and it would be like so beautiful, but there wasn't a lot of like manifesting anything to change within myself. It was like
That's
I wanted
where it gets weird.
These external things, and then
it's like, can you manifest a constant state of stillness? Can you manifest enlightenment?
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. You may not believe this, but that thought has never even crossed my mind.
Oh, it's crossed my mind.
I'm just like, how have I never put those two things together? Like, manifestation seems to work, and it goes really well. I want to be enlightened.
Oh.
No, like, just don't put the
couldn't be.
No.
I guess that comes back to that thing I said earlier in this episode, is like how good could life be if it was like fully what you could, just like how good could life be, period. How incredible could it be if every morning was like waking up to new eyes, a new world, a new whatever. And it's like, when that sort of thing becomes the focus of manifestation, it's like all these surface things are going to come and go as well.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
because I think we often think about how good life could be based on externals.
For sure.
But then it's like the whole thing he was saying of, I want people to get rich and famous so that they see that that's not going to be the thing. And it's like, what if now, before you were even rich and famous, you took that perspective of, I know it's not going to be the thing.
That is also what Sadhguru says he has someone narrate before his meditations on inner engineering. He's like, it's usually a woman narrating. She's like, this is a practice for success, like success. Sadhguru offers these practices to achieve this worldly success so that you can then focus your attention on higher pursuits.
See that because it doesn't matter.
That's also like, he knows that you need to achieve that so that the wonder isn't there of like, oh my gosh, this will probably make me happy. This is gonna make me happy. And then you're there. He's gonna like facilitate that you getting there and then sitting in it and being like, whoa, this is not it.
I am not happy.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, well, there's only one route to take left, and I have already, like, dived into Sadhguru a bit, and now let's go fully.
It's like he's got it figured out a little bit.
It's like, yeah, no, it's like he's really, he might be on to something, I'd say.
He could be.
Yeah.
Same with Jim Carrey, though. He's got some bars.
Wow, got some bars. I would love, the only thing that I'm left with, curiosity-wise, is what was his personal process? Like, what led to the awakening? Where is he on that journey? Because it's like, does he just cognitively know the things? Because I could say those things in front of a mic, but like, I'm just curious. I don't know. Are there any videos where he describes like the personal like awakening that happened inside of him? Do you know of this? Do you know these things?
Whoa.
Yeah. I think that might be all for today, folks.
Agreed.
Man, this was like not your average learn with this video. Loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah. If you've got any other not your average learn with us videos that also somehow fit perfectly into the channel,
that are absolutely average without being average.
Yes. Send them our way.
Much love.
Much love.